All right. So here's our first GeoGebra tutorial. We're going to be talking about how to make points, lines, segments, and rays. Now these terms may be new to you, they may not be, but either way we're going to really go in and define them later. This is just an intro on how to actually make them. So first, when you open up GeoGebra, you should see a screen that looks like this after you've got your sign-in done. And what you want to do is you want to click Algebra. Now, I know that we're in geometry, but algebra is nice because it's got this input bar over here, and the geometry section doesn't have this input bar. Now this right here is to help you type into the input bar. We don't really need it right now, so we can just exit out of it over here. And then what I also like to do all the time is to put the grid on, because you can't really see where exact points are here. And I like it to look like graph paper so I can be more accurate. So what you do is you right click and you see this graphics comes up. You want to click grid, and there's a grid. So like here's 1, 1, here's 2, 1, here's 2, 2. We can put points exactly where they need to be. Okay. So first thing we're going to talk about is a point. There are two ways we can plot points. The first way is we can go over here to the input bar and we can type in a point. Let's say we want to put a point at 2, 1. So we hit parentheses, 2, 1, and we hit enter. And boom, we get a point at 2, 1. Or we can go up here to this tool. And you see if you click it, it gives you different choices. Now we're only going to use a couple of these choices. But right now let's just focus on this one. The point, if you click that, it means that anywhere that you click on the graph, it will put a point. And you see that when you put the points, their coordinates appear over here. So you can put a point anywhere and its coordinates will appear. So those are two ways to create points. And to go back, what you can do is you can hit this back button and it takes away everything back. Or there's a delete button on this little 4 arrows. You click delete. You can go up and you can delete things. Or you can click the arrow, and if you right click stuff, you can delete stuff by right clicking. So there's multiple ways to get rid of things. And this arrow up here is very important. It's how you move around just in general without creating anything. You can also use it to move the graph around to view different parts of it. Okay, now let's talk about lines. And there's also two ways to make lines. And no matter what happens, we're going to use this tool up here, right by point. Now, if we click on it, we see that there are different things here to do. There's line, segment, segment with a given length, ray, and then we're going to stop there. We're not really going to use anything past ray because we don't need it. So let's first talk about the line. Now, there's two ways to make lines. The first way is to create 2 points. So we can create 2 points. We can click the line tool. And if we click those 2 points, it makes a line going right through the points. So we can already have 2 points there and click them. Or we can just click 2 places on the graph. We don't have to have the points, it'll create the points. So if I click here and here, it creates a line there too. So I can have pre-made points to make a line, or I can make a line using the tool and clicking 2 places. Okay, so I'm going to backspace and get rid of that. Okay. Now let's talk about segments. And there's multiple ways that we can create segments. One way is if we have 2 points and we want to connect the 2 points, we go over here to the segment tool and we click the 2 points and it makes a segment. So this is what a segment looks like. Or just like with the line, we can click anywhere on the graph and it will make a segment if we click twice. And then there's this other segment tool that we can use, and it's a very specific tool. It's if we want to make a segment that has a certain length. Like let's say we're building something on here and we need to have a segment with length of 5. So we click the segment with a given length tool, and then we click somewhere on the graph. And this box pops up and it says, how long do you want your segment? Let's say we want it 5, so we type in 5, click OK, and it gives us a segment with length of 5. And no matter what we do to move it, the segment will always be 5. And now you saw me moving that, so let's open up another segment. After you create something, this is where the move tool also is used. Like let's say I want to move this segment around. Well, I can use that arrow and I can click and I can just move it. I can move either one of them. I can make it smaller, I can make it bigger, I can change the way that it's oriented. So that's another thing the move tool can be used for. So let's get rid of this. Back. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is array. And again, we're going to go, there's 2 ways we can create rays. The first way is we can have our 2 points. We go over here to the ray tool. We can click on the 2 points and it makes a ray. Or we can start out by just clicking the ray tool and then click 2 points and it makes a ray. And again, we can use the move tool to move our ray around. We can move either point on the ray to change the way it's oriented if we want. So that's your intro for points, lines, segments, and rays.